Okay, so I'm going to show how a size comparison works when going from 3/8 inch gauge to the gauge that most of y'all have, which is the 5/8 inch 24 peg. Okay, this loom will make this size bird. Okay, this size bird macaw. Alright, now I'm going to show how to make the blue and gold macaw. And it's a little different. Now there's more layers that go on with the scarlet macaw, and you have to do this blue layer first, and then you do the red layer. But we're only doing the red layer because I noticed there's a difference in that in the blue and gold and scarlet macaw. So I'm basically going to show you how to make this, but you won't see the extra layer done. Okay, and all this is an I-cord, and I-cord, and then you have that, and then you leave it on the loom, and you're going to do this tail, which I'm going to show you how to do, and then you're going to work them together when you do your short row business. And that'll make all sense when I show you how that works. So what we're going to do, and showing how to change this up, we're going to be using the 5/8 inch gauge 24 peg loom, and we're going to be using super bulky yarn. Okay, and this is the Lions brand Hometown USA yarn. Okay, and that's what we're going to use. My suggestion is if you're wanting to use this, make sure you're using a particularly thick yarn. Okay, and it's important to use a thick yarn, because if you don't, it's going to not look good when you go to stuff it. Okay, so it's actually really important to try and use a nice thick yarn. If not, you need to use at least 3 strands of a worsted weight yarn. Okay, alrighty, so let's get started. On here, in my notes, it says that we need to skip the first. Okay, you're going to skip the first 5 pegs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to So you're going to skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to chain and cast on then the next 2 pegs. Okay. Ready. Okay. There we go. Now, what you're supposed to do next is you're going to slip and knit for 4 rows. So here's row 1, slip and knit, row 2, slip and knit, row 3, slip and knit, row 4. Alright. Next, you're going to slip and knit, then you're going to increase, just wrap around the next peg. The next row, you're going to slip that one, knit, 2, and increase. Alright, then you're going to slip that increase, knit, 3. Then you're going to slip that first peg, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, and then increase. Then you're going to slip your increase, and then you're going to 4, and then increase. Then you're going to be repeating this next set of rows for being 10 rows. So you're going to slip 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2. Okay. So you're going to slip 1, knit 1, purl 2, 2, then knit 2. And you're going to slip 1, knit 1, purl 2, and then knit 2. You're going to repeat that for 8 more rows, for a total of 10 rows. So pause the video and complete that much, and then we will come back and continue on creating the tail. Okay, we've completed our 10 rows. That's what you've got so far. Okay, so now what it says, which will be on row 29, is that you're going to slip 1, knit 1, purl 2, knit 2, and then increase. Then you slip your increase. Let's see that's back. Okay. Slip your increase. Then you knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, and then your increase. And then you're going to do another 10 rows of this. So you're going to do another 10 rows where you're going to slip that first peg, knit 2, actually no, we're switching it up. Sorry. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to slip that peg. Then you're going to purl 1, knit 1, purl 2, 2, knit 1, purl 1, purl 1, and okay, show you that again. You're going to slip, purl, knit, purl, purl, knit, purl, knit. And what you probably are noticing is what we're trying to do is keep that tail from doing a lot of purling. So that's what all the mixture between knits and purls are about. Alright, so you're going to do that for 8 more rows, and for a total of 10 rows, and then we'll be going from there. Now, if you don't feel like the tail is long enough, okay, compared to the bird, you can continue with this process for 20 rows if you want. I know that the macaw tail is particularly long, so if you so desire, you can do it for 20 rows or 15 rows or whatnot. This is kind of a guideline. I'm going to do 10 more rows, and then we will go from there. Okay, I have completed my rows now. You can see the tail here now. Here is a comparison between a 3/8 inch gauge loom and a 5/8 inch gauge. Quite a bit bigger. So if you're wanting to make something that's a little closer to life size and it's a bigger bird, go to a thicker yarn and a wider gauge. Alright, now at this point, what I want to let you know is on the first section of 10, on the first 19 rows, it's not going to really be any different from this one. Okay, so if you're doing this one, it's not going to be any different. You're going to do that tail like that, but you're going to do it first. Okay, so you do the blue first, then you do the red. And I know that seems weird, but you're layering. Okay, so whatever your top layer is, you have to do first. And then you do basically I-cords with 2 stitches on either side. And that's going to extend a little further than this, but it's not going to be much different in this one on instructions, so you have an idea of what you're doing. Okay, but you're going to do blue first. If you're doing the red macaw, you do blue first with the I-cords, and it tells you how many rows to do on your I-cords. Then you do the red tail. And at this point, if you do the scarlet macaw, then what you need to do is you need to take the blue stitches, because you should have a set of blue stitches you're not touching, and then you should have this red. Okay, you're going to toss those blue stitches over, okay, which combines them into one tail, like you see here. Okay, that's what that combines it into, one tail. All right, now, at this point, we're going to stop with blue. And the big thing is going to need to get our yellow. Okay, so we need to get our yellow out. You're going to cut your blue. Give yourself enough to knot it. Alright, and then you're just going to leave it alone. Don't touch these stitches, don't mess with them, leave them as they are. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to start your yellow section. Now you have two options. I'm going to show you the easy option. I personally don't like it as much, but it does make it easier for stuffing, is a chain cast on all of them, or if you are comfortable with a Kitchener cast on, do the Kitchener cast on, and then when you get ready to stuff, because your closure is here, stuff through that closure. Don't tighten it before you stuff, but because I'm trying to kind of incorporate many different skill levels, we're just going to do a chain cast on. I don't think it looks as good. This is a Kitchener cast on. You see how smooth that is. When you do the cast on that I'm going to show you, there's going to be a seam here, and it's going to be more obvious. So if you are comfortable with a Kitchener cast on, I would suggest doing it. But do remember, when you close it up, that you're going to be stuffing from the head. You're going to be stuffing through a weave and bind off. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a chain cast on for 24 pegs all the way around. Okay. Okay. Now you need to knit all the stitches. Just get you started. Okay, then you're going to be splitting it up into half. If you've done socks, this will be really, really easy for you. If you haven't, well, it might be a little more challenging. What you're going to do is you're going to go around and you're going to knit all 24 pegs. Okay. Then you're going to short row half of the pegs to create what I call a narrowing area for the tail so it blends better. But know that you're only going to do half of it in yellow and the other half in blue. So keep that in mind. Don't put your blue away yet. You're going to do some color chunking when it comes to the blue macaw. The chest is yellow, the back is blue. So we're going to be doing half and half. Okay. So it's going to be a little different than the scarlet macaw. Starts off in a bluish color and moves into red. We don't have that with this one, so we've got to keep up. Alright, now that we have done that, what we're going to do is we're going to knit 11. Do not touch those blue stitches. Don't touch them. Don't touch this tail until I tell you, and I will tell you, okay? In my notes, I tell you. Alright, so you're going to knit 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wrap behind that and turn. Next, you're going to knit 10 and wrap and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Wrap and turn. Okay. You're going to continue this wrap and turn, knit 9 wrap and turn, knit 8 wrap and turn, 7 wrap and turn, 6 wrap and turn, 5 wrap and turn, 4 wrap and turn, and stop. So, go all the way down to 4 wrap and turns. So, where you get down to where you have 4 stitches here between your wraps and turns. Okay, so continue the wraps and turns until you have 4 single stitches with wraps and turns all around it. Okay, so pause the video and get that much done, and you'll see what it looks like when it's done. So pause the video and get that much done, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so you see that you have 4 wraps and turns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 single stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 wraps and turns over here. Okay, so you see that. What we're going to do now is we're going to change color. I'm going to do the magic knot or fisherman's knot, depending on what you're used to on the terminology of this knot. I bring it down as tight as I can. Cut my yellow. I will need it again, but not right now. Okay, and then do another half knot and try to get it down as close to the base as possible. Tighten, pull. Alright. Then you should be able to snip the ends. Okay. Now, what I like to do after that is loosen the stitches. That way the color is right. Now, what it says to do is to knit 2 together 4 times. Well, how in the heck can you knit 2 together 4 times? You're going back and forth. This is where you start adding the tail feather stitches back in. Okay. So here you go. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. And then you knit 3 together. Now, you're going to see that as notes. It says knit 2 together 4 times, and then knit 3 together. That is how you know you're adding the tail stitches. I also make notes that you're adding the tail stitches back in. Okay, then you're going to start with that peg, and then you're going to knit 5, knit 3 together, and so forth. So basically you're adding your stitches back in. You see that, okay? So you knit your 5 and knit 3 together. Then you knit 6, knit, 3 together. Don't you love when they throw random knots in there at you? Alright. And when you get to the edge where you've gotten to your last stitch over here on the knit 3 together, what I like to do is tie it off. People weave it in, but I like to tie it off just to make sure that it's secure. Okay. And then we're going to knit our way over, do our last knit 3 together. Then you're knitting 2 together. and your knit 3 together. That's your last knit 3 together. Okay. Now you're going to go back the other direction and knit 2 together. Okay. This is the back half bird. Okay. So keep that in mind. That this half is the back half, the other half is the front half. Right? Alright. 2 together. Start with what you finished with. Knit your way back. 2 together. And we're about ready to add the yellow back in. Okay. Then you're going to go over here and you're going to knit your last wrap and turn section back in. And then you're going to knit your way over. So you're going to be over here, and that's when you're going to attach that yellow. Okay, so, and knit 2 together. See that connection? That is back in with your tail. There's half of it is yellow, and half is blue. Okay. Sometimes the stuff I do, I know seems kind of crazy. Like, what are you doing? I promise it's not. Okay, so you're going to knit your way over, and you're going to be adding your last wrap and turn in, and then you're going to add your yellow. So you're going to go over here, and you're going to knit 11, knit 2 together, change color to yellow, and you don't have to do that magic knot, you just change your color to yellow, but don't cut the blue, okay? Don't cut it. And you're going to pick your yellow up and knit 12, okay? Here's your knit 12. Alright, we're doing color chunking. It's not bad. It's where the front half's yellow and the back half's blue. That's how you do a half and half. Okay. Now, in order to be able to get to where I need to be, I need to go in and take and pick up and knit 12 back. Alright, and I'll make a note of that there's just one row where you pick up the blue and you knit 12. You're knitting it back so that you can go back and forth working a row. Alright, now here we go. Okay, at this point our tail section is done. So, I'm ready to go to my next page of notes. Okay. And when you're doing this one, you're doing the short rows, okay, in the blue, and then you're going to switch over to red, right? But on this, you're doing the half. So it says, you're going to do 8 rows of color chunking. Alright, so I'm going to show you how that works. Make sure whatever you want, whatever color you choose to go under the other color is consistently the other color you go under. So I'm going to do yellow as my color that goes under, and blue that goes right. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to knit 12 in blue. And I'm going to tell you the easiest way to keep yourself from getting all tangled up. Okay, and when we do this, when you meet here and then meet back, that counts as 2 rows. Alright, so this is row 1. Alright, easiest way to keep up. Okay, so in order to keep from twisting, don't go around this way. Go back the direction you came. Pick up your color and knit your way over. And I don't know that I saw it done. The Harlequin thing, you can, or I'm not into Marvel, so, but there's that half white, half black with the pigtails. You can use this concept on a hat where you half it, and then you can just little weave in your pigtails kind of thing if you want to, I guess. Okay, so again, you go under with the yellow over the blue, okay, and do your blue, so you knit your 12, sorry if I get us shot, trying to keep in, okay, and once you get to the other side, go back in the direction you came, and pick up the yellow, and knit your way over. This counts as 2 rows. You're going to do this for a total of 8 rows. So you'll do this, 3 more times back and forth like this. And then we can move on to the feet. Okay. So under, over. Now you see that they were twisted. Well, when you go under and over, suddenly you're untwisted again. Alright? So, pause the video, complete another 3 sets for a total of 6 rows left to do. And that's all 8 rows kind of thing. Okay, and then we'll be ready to do the feet. I'll explain how that gets done. Alright, the feet are a little different. I have 4 slots like this, but you'll see that if you put them, they look really silly like this, but if you put them through a piece of wood, if you're planning on using this bird as a display, you put it on a piece of wood, it looks right, see? It looks like little claws. Okay. The claws together. Alright. But it looks like little claws. That should make more sense to you. Okay. So if you'll pause the video, get those rows done. We will come back and I will show you the feet and then we can continue on with the body. Okay. So I've completed my 8 rows. And let me see what this is looking like. You can see how much bigger this is. It ends up being closer to life size. So, alright. So at this point, we're going to be starting on our feet. See, black sitting on the side. Here's our nice black sitting on the side. Okay. So for the red one, you're working it circularly rather than half and half for your scarlet macaw. So you've been working circularly for 8 rows. That goes a little faster. So when you go and do the red macaw, you're going to work all the way around and then start your feet. But we're going to do a little differently on the feet on this one. Okay, so you're going to knit 12 in blue. Okay. Then over here, you're just going to knit 2. And then what you'll be starting is your feet. So you knit 2. And then you'll start your feet. So all you're going to do is you're just going to attach the black. You're not going to actually change the color entirely. So now keep in mind when you do these feet what you want to use it for. If you want to actually put it on your wrist, you'll need to give yourself enough room to be able to put your hand through there to sit on your wrist. What I've done on each of these is 20 rows on each of these. So we did basically an I-cord chain of 20 on each of these. Okay, and you can see it fits my pinky on a 3/8 inch gauge. But if you want to be able to fit it on your wrist, all you do is you just do more. You just do more rows. If you're trying to fit it on your wrist. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get started with this, and then we'll leave you to it. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to knit, make sure I got this, yeah, change black, knit 2, slip 1, knit 1 for 20 rows. So here's your knit 2. Okay, then you're going to slip 1, knit 1, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit. That's at least 4 rows like that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, gets a new age show down here, 16, 17, 18, 19, yeah, make sure it's even. So if you add a whole bunch more, make sure it's even. Okay, that's how big it is. I probably will do an extra 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do an extra 10, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Okay. Now, that looks like a piece of nice big loop there. Alright, then what it says to do is bring the original loops back on both stitches and you'll know the original lids are yellow, so you pick those up. You pick that up and put it back on. Pick that up, put it back on. Try not to get that black in there. There we go. Then you're going to pick up your yellow and you're going to knit two together. If you're doing the red macaw, you're going to be over here working, okay, rather than over here. Alright, so let me explain. 12, and then you're going to knit 2, and then here's where you're going to start your feet. You'll end up with the same thing, so it doesn't matter which direction you're going on this. So when you're doing the red macaw, you're going to go all the way around with red, plus the 2, so 14 total. Then you're going to do what we did here, back and forth, right here, and you're going to do it for a total of 4 times, okay? So we've just done this, so you're going to pause the video, and you're going to complete another talon here, and talon here, and talon here. So you're going to do 3 more, just like this one. Alright, so pause the video and get that much done. Okay, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So, you have 4 feet, and you can now cut the black, knot it off, and we're done now with our black. Okay. So, at this point, we're just going to tie it off. Put it in the center, and then you knit your 2. So, knit 2. 1, 2. Alright. Now, that we have completed that row, we're going to do our back and forth. We'll do back and forth for 5 rows. Yeah. So, back and forth in it for 5 rows. Sorry, under, over. There. Okay. So, we're back to our half and half for 5 rows. Alright, so knit your way over 12 on this side, knit your way over 12 on the other. That counts as 1 row. Come on back, counts as 2. When you finish your 5 rows, you should be over here. Alright, so I'm going to tell you to pause the video and complete your 5 rows, and we'll be ready to move along to more of the chest area. And that's when we start doing really shallow short rows with wrap and turns. So again, if you've done socks before, this is easy, particularly if you've done a double wedge. Alright, so go ahead, pause the video, complete your 5 rows, and then we'll come back. Okay, we have finished at where our starting point is. And at this point, you're going to be doing some short rowing. And I'll explain how that is done. And just okay. So what I'm going to show you, you're going to end up repeating a total of 3 times. Okay, it's a 2-row repeat for 3 times. Alright, so that is what I'm fixing to show you. I'm going to lift this a little bit. Okay, now, what you're going to do is you're not really bothering on the short row with the blue. Because what you want to do is create a chest area. Now, if you're doing the red, you work all the way around to the other side. Wrap and turn, wrap and turn. Alright. But when you're doing this, it's going to be varied a little, but not by much, and it's still going to look the same. So you're going to start off knitting 12 in your blue. Real easy. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to knit 11, wrap, and turn. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, wrap and turn, and then you're going to knit 10, wrap and turn, knit 8, wrap and turn, and then we'll go from there. So it's only going to be 2 wrap and turns. It's a really shallow curve that we're creating on the chest. It's not super deep or anything like that. Alright. Then you're going to wrap and turn, and then you're going to knit your way over. And I'm going to show you this outright so that you know what to repeat. Okay, so we'll do all of it. So knit 9, wrap and turn, and knit 8. Wrap and turn. Then you're going to knit 8, knit 2 together 2 times. So here's your knit 8. Knit 2, 2 together 2 times. Okay. That completes the first row of 2 row set. Alright. So naturally you're going to go under, over, knit your 12 in the blue, and if you're working the red, you're still working in a circle. Okay. So that's how that's going to work. If you work in the red, you're working in a circle. I promise it's not, in fact, it's easier to keep up with. So what I'm showing you is actually harder to keep up with. Okay. The red macaw, that's really easy. You just keep working in a circle. You follow the instructions exactly as they are. Okay. I'm going to go right back around. This is the start of row 2, just so you know. Okay, then you're going to knit over, was it 10? It is. Yeah, you knit over 10. Then you knit 2 together 2 times. Then you're going to repeat this whole thing, these 2 rows, 2 more times. And that will complete the body. Okay. Here you go. Over and over. Okay. You see how much more that's given you? More stuff there. Alright. So, those 2 rows that we just completed, you're going to do that again and again for a total of 2 more times, and that'll be 3 times on the short row. So, repeat 2 more times, and then we'll come back and we'll be ready to start the head. Alright. So, that virtually completes the body. And so, when you finish, you should be here. right here and down should be done. That's the majority of your bird. Alright, and then we'll be ready to start the head. Okay, so pause the video, complete those 2 rows 2 more times. Alright, and then we'll come back and we'll work on the head. Okay, we've completed the body, as you can see. And you see it's pretty big. So if you want the closest thing to a life-size macaw, use your 5/8 inch gauge with the super bulky kind of yarn. Alright, so the head is where it gets complicated. It's where it gets a lot of colors. This is where I'm going to teach you a little technique when you are using multiple colors in the head, because when you look at the blue and gold macaw, there is a yellow through here, while there's blue and yellow, and then it goes from white and white. Okay, so it just so happens that I have 2 separate skeins, and I'm going to work from my yellow, and they're 2 separate skeins. But when you work your white, you might need to do a few yards of the white for the other side, and I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm going to be switching to a lighter blue that I have for the head, and I will do it for the upper part of the wings, and then I will take a acrylic paint pen and I will blend it with a other blue so that it blends up, because the head is a little lighter and the wings have lighter spots too. But its base color is this dark color here. So I try to get real accurate with it, or you can just stick with all the blue there is. Okay, so I'm going to attach this blue. Okay, and I'm going to cut it. I'm doing my magic knot fishings. I don't need that dark blue anymore. At least for this video. You'll need it for when you do your wings, and I'll have an explanation on that and a video link below. Okay. Alright, so how this works, you'll need your second little bit. You don't have to have a full skein. You can do like a little bobbin of yarn. I've done that several times to do half and halves. Okay, so we're going to only be working with these 12 pegs here. We're not touching the front anymore. Okay, in order to do the head. Alright, I'm going to get that out of my way. Okay, so here's how this is going to go. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to do knit, two, switch color, and then you're going to knit over to here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to knit over 8, and you're going to add your other yellow. Okay, but we're going to increase the amount that gets used with the yellow, because it is a subtle change over from this side to this side. Alright, so I'm getting my other yellow, and I'm just attaching it. I'm not doing a magic knot. We're going to be going back and forth, and this is where a bobbin sometimes helps. Okay, that's where you just get a little ball of it and wrap it around something, and you can just work from it here. Okay, so we're going to switch up, and we're going to knit 2. Okay. Then you're going to, that back in the middle, you're going to slip that first one and you're going to knit 2. Then you're going to cross that and you're going to knit to just before the yellow on the other side, which is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So last one was 8, this one is 6, and we'll do it one more time so that the next one will be 4. This will give us our gradual work to the back. Okay. And then just wrap that yellow around that blue so that when you go to knit back, it doesn't give you a gap. So it's always good to try to figure out how to do a gap. So you'll knit 3 then. Okay, then you're going to slip that one and you're going to knit 3 and pick up that blue and you're going to knit 4 and then going to wrap it around that blue so that when you go in and start working your way back, it fills in that hole. And you're going to knit 4. Alright. Now you're going to knit, let's say we did 1 there, back, so yeah, you're going to do 3 rows back and forth with this count, okay, so you're doing 3 rows, so you slip the first one, and you knit the 4, and you pick up your blue, so that it kind of is crossing there, because you're knitting flat, you don't have to do all that twisty stuff, and then you knit your 4, and you pick up, make sure you don't pick up that other one over there, pick up your yellow here, and it's going to work the same way when you start doing your white, and it can get fun in there, and I'll explain it, okay, so there is row 1, okay, and then you're going to slip, knit 3, cross that, and knit 4, okay. Make sure you're crossing with the right one, and knit 4, and then it should be 1 more. I think we'll be starting our short rows. Okay. And then you will slip 1, knit 3, this will get in your 3rd row. And at this point, I think we'll be starting on our wrap and turn sections. This is where you start curving that head around. And I'll try to point that out in the Scarlet Macaw. The beginning of the Scarlet Macaw head is pretty easy. There's a lot of shaping that'll happen after we're done knitting, and I'll try to show how that shaping works. It's the key to getting it to look exactly like you want. Okay. Alrighty. So, this is what we've got so far. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're going to knit over, slip 1, knit 9, wrap and turn, knit 8, wrap and turn, knit 7, wrap and turn, knit 6, wrap and turn, 5, 4. So what you're doing here is you'll see that that is your first curve right there. See it. Here's your first curve. This is what you're creating. Okay. So when you do that once, and then this is where the white starts getting added in. Okay. And that's when you have to keep up. Alright, so this is how this works. You start doing these wrap and turns, and we're working our way down to 4. Okay, so what you want to do, if you slip 1 and you knit your 4, pick your blue up, wrap it, make sure it goes over the top, knit your 4, and pick up your yellow. There's no intercrossing here. Okay. And then when you get to just before that end peg, you're going to wrap and turn. Okay. You're not going to go to the very, very end peg, just before it. Because what you'll want is an easy chain to pick up and add to it. Okay. So then you're going to knit 2, pick up your blue, and knit 4. Keep this in mind because you'll basically be doing the same thing just with white where the yellow is. So pick up your yellow and knit over 2, wrap and turn. Okay, you're working your way back. Knit 2, up your blue, knit 4, and you're going to continue this, okay, and where it gets complicated. So remember this row because you're going to do this with white on it, okay. You're going to pick it up, knit 1, wrap and turn, knit 1. And trust me, this works when you start getting into these last ones, okay. Alright. Pick up that blue, knit 4. So remember this, you're just going to be doing it in white instead of yellow. Got that yellow, knit 1, wrap and turn, knit 1, pick up the blue, knit 4, because I can tell you, if you keep the yellow attached through here, you're going to have big gaps, and then it's going to show up in your knitting. So there's a good reason to do little bobbins of color when you're doing this. Okay, then you're going to pick up that yellow, wrap and turn. Okay, so you'll notice I did it like I was going to knit it, but then when I drop it, I'm going to pull that blue over the top. And that way it'll keep it closed. Okay. Change to blue, knit 4. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. And that's where it's kind of confusing. It's like wrap and turn. So put your blue over the yellow, wrap and turn, and then pull your blue back over the top of it. Okay. And that'll keep it nice and tight. Alright. And then what you want to do is knit 4, and then you're going to knit 2 together 3 times and knit 1. So and knit 2 together. Oops, no. Wake it up. Alright, now, here's where you're going to pick up your yellow. Knit 2 together 3 times, knit 1. Okay, sorry, still quite asleep. 2 together 3 times, knit 1. Okay, then you're going to slip and knit 3. Pick up your blue, knit 4. Pick up your yellow, knit 2 together 3 times, and knit 1. Okay, I think we're fixing to be changing to white. Alright, your first curve. You see it developing. Okay, so at this point we've gotten the first curve here. We need to do another curve through here. Alright, so you're going to basically be repeating what we just did here again, but it's going to be in white instead of yellow. So, okay, there we go. Okay, and here's where you switch to white. And you're going to do a row of white, and then you're going to start this row again. Okay, so these last, what we just did, you're going to do again. So go back to the video, and it's just going to be in white instead of yellow. This took 16 minutes just to film this part. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're not going to need much white. So use that and use this. Get you about a few yards of it. You don't need much. You see how little we used. Get you a few yards of it. Wrap it up. And there is your bobbin for the other side. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to snip our yellows. And we're going to move them out of the way. We don't need them anymore. Alright, now next thing you want to do is pull your white out. And you're going to magic knot it. Okay. And cut it down. And do the same thing with your bobbin over here. Okay, you don't cut the blue, you're going to still use that blue. You have to work its way all the way around. Okay. Alright. Now we're set up to do white. We're going to do the exact same thing that we just did, but what we're going to do in order to make sure we're set up for it, we're going to just do 2 rows of this, slip 1, knit 3, change to blue, knit 4. We're going to just do 2 rows of that, and then you're just going to repeat that whole section I just did with the yellow and white. And I'm pretty sure you're going to end up doing it twice. So I'll make sure when I tell you, and then I'm going to tell you to pause the video and tackle it. Alright, pick up our other white. Sure, it's the other white. Okay. Knit our 4. Okay. We're going to slip and work our way back. And pick up your blue. And then pick up your white. And then you're going to start it all again. Okay. This yellow section all over again. Alright. So you're going to repeat this yellow section that we did here in the white. Okay. And looking at my notes, which looks like garble to you. Okay. You do all that. And then you your red. You do that. 3 together. 3 together. Okay. And then you're going to do 2 rows like we just did in between. Okay. So you saw what we just did to prep that. So we just did 2 rows. Okay. We're going to do that again. So after you complete this section, you're going to complete those 2 rows like we just did with the change color. Alright, so you're going to do that. And then you're going to repeat it all again. So you're going to be doing it 2 times. Okay. And so as you can see, there is your next section, and then there is your next section. And so that completes the head. Then we'll be ready to do the beak. So, again, what we just did with the yellow, you're just doing it in white. Yellow, you're doing the exact same thing. You're just doing it in white, and then you're going to do the 2 rows we just did to prep in the white. And you're going to do that for 2 times, and then when we come back, we'll be ready to start the beak. So pause the video and get that much done. Okay, I'm going to correct myself here. On the second one that you need to do, you need to change your blue. Okay, so you need to change your blue to green doing the second half. So you're going to do this one like normal, and then when you go to do this section here, it needs to be green through here and white through here. Okay. So it just occurred to me right when I was fixing to catch up. So what you're going to have is you're going to have white, white, blue through here, and then it's going to change to green through here. Okay, because that's what it is in the image, and your beak's going to be all in black, and you won't have that when you do the scarlet macaw. But keep that in mind. Blue for this first one, green in the middle. Okay, you'll need to switch color. Easy enough, following the same pattern, just change it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, I've just completed that short row section and I'm ready to do the back and forth twice that I did to prep the white. I'm going to change over to green in my blue section. Okay, and I wanted to show that so you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to cut that and get that out of the way. Okay, magic knot my green. Alright, and then snip those close. Alright, loosen that up some. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is do my 2 rows back and forth. And this is where you've changed over to green. Okay. And it does show up in the macaw, this particular color. Where you're going to switch up to that green, that blue section. Okay. And then you'll be ready to do that short row section again, but you just have the green in the middle rather than the blue. Okay. So it's all the same technique. You're just changing up your color. Alright. Okay. So you can see what we did. Same technique through here on our short rowing we just did on our white on our first set, and then you'll have your green in the middle on your second set, and then we'll be ready to start on the beak. I just want to make sure you understood that that green is going to be replaced where that blue was, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so get you another short row section done, and then we'll come back and move on to the beak. Okay, I'm going to show how to do the beak next. This is what you should have. Okay, you should see this nice curved head going on. See? Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to start on your beak, and this is where you should be able to I want to say switch up to say yellow, because we're going to be working our beak in the middle section of C6 pegs. Okay, so we're going to be doing this here. All right, and when you do the first half, when you do that real short row, that'll be in white if you're doing the red caw, and then it'll switch to black for the second half, so keep that in mind. Now what I want to do is change to yellow, because what this is going to do is it's starting to start showing up in the front, and we need this yellow to blend in with the chest. And yes, I know that you probably could do this more simplistic, but if you're going for realistic and really what a macaw looks like, you check the fine details. Okay. Pull that. Alright. So when you go to start doing your beak, you'll definitely want to tie off your colors. Okay. So you'll knit, let's see, make sure I got this right. Yeah, slip 1 and knit 3. Should be knit 2. Sure. Okay. So slip 1, knit 2. Make that adjustment. Alright. Now you'll slip 1, knit 2. Change over to black. You will not cut that yellow. Okay. Just pick it up when you're ready to go. To do the other side. Alright. So you pick up that yellow and you're going to knit 6 for 2 rows. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And do that for 2 rows. Now you're going to end up needing to sew up your beak. So just keep that in mind. There is some sewing that'll need to be done. Okay, you're going to knit 5 wrap and turn, knit 4 wrap and turn, knit 3 wrap and turn, knit 2 wrap and turn. Alright, so you're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wrap and turn, knit 4, wrap and turn, knit 3, wrap and turn, and knit 2, wrap it and turn. Then you're going to knit 2 together 2 times. So here's your knit 2 together 2 times. Then you're going to knit 4, knit 2 together 2 times. Okay. Now, you're going to repeat that again, but before you do the knit 2 together, you're going to do single rows, okay, which is going to create this point right here. So, what you're going to do is you're going to wrap and turn your way down to the 2, and then we're going to knit 2 for 7 rows. Sure. 2 for 7 rows, and then you work your way back out. So, and that creates now, once you do that hook and you start working your way back out, that's when you'll change over to black. If you're doing the scarlet macaw, you'll want to work in a white right now. And after you do those 7 rows of the knit 2, you're going to switch to black and get your second half under black because the upper half of the scarlet macaw is. Okay, so wrap and turn, and then you're going to knit 2, and that's your first row for 7 rows. So here is 2, here is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you'll knit 2 together 2 times. Right here is where you want to change to your white, for your, from your white to your black, for your scarlet macaw. This helps you keep up. And then you'll slip 1 and knit. I'm going to baby this thing until I can glue it. I hadn't used this in a while, so the glue probably dried. Right. And then knit 2 together 2 times. Alright. There is that part. Now, then you go in and you repeat the first row that you did. Alright. Of the wrap and turns without the extra. So basically you're just going to knit 5, wrap and turn, knit 4, wrap and turn, knit 3, wrap and turn, knit 2, wrap and turn, and then knit 2 together, knit 2, then knit 2 together 2 times, so you're doing that, and that should be getting right where we want it to be. Wrap and turn, knit 2, turn, then knit 2, knit 2 together 2 times, and then knit 4 and knit 2 together 2 times. So just know you are going to have to sew up your beak area. Now, what you're going to do at this point is you're going to put back your original stitches, kind of start closing that up. Okay. And then you're going to pick up that yellow. And get that black to stay away. Put it on. Alright. And then we're going to cut the black and tie it off. Alright, I'm going to tie that off, and then I'm going to pick that yellow up, and I'm going to do a couple rows of yellow, and then we're going to finish this up. Alright, so I'm picking up the yellow. I'm going to knit 2 together, and then I knit 4, and then I'm going to knit 2 together, and then knit 3. Okay, then I'll slip 1 and knit my way over. Okay. And this is where we're going to finish up, and this is where I use this technique a lot for my birds. And because of the size of this area and how many chains you have to pick up, it's a little different when you're working on thinner yarn and this size loom. It's probably going to be easier to actually use a crochet hook for this section. Okay, and the goal is, it's still attached. Just tie that off, and that one's still attached too. Try to tie those off when you're working back and forth. Tie that off with black. Okay. Just have to weave that one. Alright, so what you want to do now is, I will say gather, so many. Well, what you want to do is, there's a lot to gather. Look at that. You want to gather up all these little chains here. See that? I'm going to gather them up and scrunch it down. And what that does, when you gather it like that, it brings it all together and creates that head and completes it. Okay, so there is a point, there is a purpose to it, promise. What you probably want to do, alright, is normally I'd say just gather it all and put these chains on the loom and knit 10 or something like that together. But because the pegs are shorter here, I think it's going to be important to actually just pull through each of them and then pull it tight and do it that way. So give me a second to get the proper size crochet hook. I don't work with this size much, so give me a second. Okay, I got me proper size crochet hook. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to start closest to the peg and work your way around to here. Okay, and you're going to stick that through the chain. Okay, I may have to even go smaller than this, but I didn't think it would be a good plan. Okay, so you're going to pull that through like that. Then you're going to leave that loop there, put that through the next chain, and pull through. Okay, you can do this on the smaller ones if you want. I find that this is a little more tedious, but you can do it this method. Okay, alright, send it through. Grab it. Through. And you're just going to keep going all the way down with these chains. Okay, just keep grabbing it, pulling it through. Okay. Now, if it says gather, so many, this is what you're doing. Okay. In another video, I showed how to just do it with the actual peg. Right. But because this is so bulky of a yarn, it's just not going to work on the pegs. Probably should have had a smaller crochet hook, because as fat as this yarn is, through, well, I almost have it. Pull through, and then I think I have one more here, just to make sure that I get it. Okay, then you're going to stick that on there and pull through, and then you're going to take it. Are you ready? And you're going to put it back on here, and you're going to tighten it. And there you have it. And it's all gathered up now. You can kind of see that from there. See? It's all gathered. So basically, once you've done that, then you can go in, and it ends up being a 2 together rather than a 10 together. Okay. And your gather is done. Well, then you're going to knit your way to the other side, and you're going to do the same thing. And I'm going to pause the video and let you do that because this video is getting kind of lengthy and there's some shaping and some stuff to do with that. And so I kind of want to explain that and not make this video longer than it needs to be. It's already an hour and a half. So once you get here, that's where you're going to start gathering again. Okay, So sometimes it's easier to pull it up like that so you see what you got. And again, you start from the closest chain and move around to the furthest. Alright, pause the video and get that done. We'll be ready to finish up the body on the loom. And then we go from here on sewing things up and stuffing and shaping. Okay, so pause the video and get that much done. Okay, now we've, like we got a mess in here, but I promise we don't. Okay, now what I usually say to do is to do a weave bind off. And what that means is you finished here, you're going to start over here, toss the bottom loop over, and pull your tail through. Then you're going to come back to the peg you were just on, toss the bottom loop over, and pull the tail through. Okay. You're going to be doing this all the way across the loom. Okay. Go over to the next one, back and forth. If you've ever done the kitchen or cast on, it's kind of like that. But you're moving over to the other side. Toss it over. Okay. You're going to do this all the way across. Go over to the other side. Toss it over. Pull it through. Alright. Go back over to the other side. Toss it over. Pull it through. You're going to do that all the way across. But do not tighten it yet. We need to do a few things before you tighten it. So pause the video and get it all the way across. Don't tighten it yet because there's a few things we need to do before we do. Alright? Okay, so this is what you should have before you tighten that up. Because this is a larger of the birds that I've made, I've been doing smooth, like pearlized black rhinestones, but this actually could have a safety eye put in, and right now would be the best time to do that before adding and before closing that up, because if you're going to try to work through the butt end, it's not going to be easy. So right now, before you close this up, add your safety eyes if you want to add them. Okay, that would be the important thing. Once you add your safety eyes, then you can start pulling, and I usually start from the middle pulling and then pull out over here, and that gets that. Okay, now as you can see, that yellow was blending up like I had wanted. You add your eyes here, and then you can close this up, and then you can start stuffing, or you can start stuffing before you close that up here. It just makes it a little easier to work with. I'm not going to show a whole lot of the stuffing because I want to show you how to do shaping. Now I'm going to make a note that if you want to do the wings before you do any of this, I usually go ahead and get my body done. But if you're interested in doing the wings, they're the closed wings, but I think on my original video I used 15 pegs. You use 19 on this one to get that extra length. So you use 19, and then when you get to the last, probably 4 to 5 pegs, you're going to switch over to this blue here and do it. I'm not going to show that because that's a lot of extra video footage, and this is already taking up so much time. So put in your safety eyes. Go ahead and stuff your head. Go ahead and stuff your beak. Sew it up as necessary. Do know that needs to be the hangover right there. See that? Okay. So when you sew up, you may want to close that up so that the point stays nice and sharp. But go ahead and stuff your head. Then I would suggest start pulling up through here to close that off. Pull through here to close more, and then pull it the rest of the way. Alright, but stuff as much as you can. Then stuff from back here, much as you can, and then when I come back, I will show you how to close this up back here, okay, and how to shape the head, because you'll notice there's a indention right here. Now, I did like an embroidery thing here to actually create that black line, but I also did a cinching technique through here to create that indention, all right? And a lot of times that's how you're going to create a certain shape for a stuffed animal or a bird is going to be part of the sewing and cinching, all right? So go ahead and pause the video, get your safety eyes added, stuff your head, sew up your beak, stuff it, and then close up the head, stuff the body as best you can, and then we will go in and I'll show you how to do shaping and close up the back end and that kind of thing to finish up. Okay, so get that much done. Okay, so I've added my safety eyes, stuffed it, so now we need to start adding accents and stuff. Okay, so here's the other side. Now a lot of times I'll go and try to close off that hole a little bit more. Okay, and then I usually try to stick the needle through to the other side. I try not to do a whole lot of cut and add. Okay, and take this and close this up like this. Okay, now what I like to do, go in here and go to the top here, and you can go up under those colors. I don't know if you can see that. So you can go up under those colors. Okay, because there are other colors in there. Okay. So then you're going to push it down to the bottom of the beak. Okay, so you can send that down, and that's when you're going to pull it. Okay, and what that's going to do is give you the indentation. See it? So it's done. It's giving you the indentation. Okay, now once you've done that, you can start trying to do the eye cinching. And yes, we are working in yellow. It's okay. Alright, now, what you want to do is, normally I don't add my eyes until after. So, you go into as close to the base of the eye as possible. Okay, and you send it through to the other eyeball. And I'm going to go underneath. And I'm going to pull it. And you can see that it's starting to create an indentation, so I'm pulling that. And then what I'm going to do is send it up and try to get it to the upper part of the eye. Okay. Cool. See? Then we're going to try to send it through the upper part of the eye, and that'll keep that even. Send it through. Alright. See? And that eye starts sitting where I want it to sit. This is part of shaping, okay? I have to go in and close that up. Okay, So as you can see, that's part of shaping. You suddenly have a much better shape overall. The eyes are in where they're supposed to be. Now, I'm going to send that through. And I'm going to try and send it down through that whole right layer, close to it, so that I can put it up there. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, you have now the eyes cinched. That's not what that's showing. Okay, and what you can do here is go through and get into these little sections. And that'll finish closing that. See? Finish closing. Okay. Now, this is where shaping comes along, where you go and smash it around. Try to get that shape where you want. Okay. Alright. Now, at this point, you'll definitely want to send it through. Okay, now you can cut it. Okay, so there is what the front looks like. Now, you can take acrylic paint pens, and you can start blending and adding the black, that little specks of black that show up in through here and that kind of thing. But now we need to close at the back end. Okay, and finish it up. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on the side that I can tie it off. Okay, there's the end in there. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. You're going to send it through both chains, and come over here and send it through both chains. Okay. Then you're going to send it through both sides of the chain here. Trying to see what I'm doing. See, there's chains all the way across. The reason why I choose a chain cast on if you're going to do a sew up is because it's easy to keep a consistent stitch. And you just go back and forth, just kind of like you did the weaving, and you're just going to tighten it as you go. Okay, so go through here, pull through, go through the next chain, which is here, and pull through and tighten. Okay, I'm sorry if the sewing doesn't stay in the spectrum of the camera. It's always been a difficult thing for me to do. Okay, so, but this is a major part of trying to keep up with your shaping. There's a reason why I usually will do a Kitchener cast on. You can, but you really shouldn't close it up in process like you do when you're making socks, so that you have an easier avenue to stuff from. Everything's about keeping it easier to stuff. So, this is classified as a whip stitch close. As I said, I personally, alright, before you get over here, make sure you got this all stuffed as much as you want it. Alright. Don't want to stuff it too much where, you know, the stuffing is bulging the stitches. and I can hold it some more once I get it closed. What makes a stuffed animal look good is the extent you choose to stuff it. Stuffing has its own art form. Okay. And a lot of people will tend to stuff too much. And if you stuff too much, it looks it. Okay. Send it through. Okay. Then you will cut that. What I like to do with these tail ends, the way I do them, I tighten it up as much as possible. Cut it close, and then I burn the end because it's synthetic. No, it's not the proper way to do it. Most people leave it. Alrighty. Now, that is what you got. Okay. And so you can send that through several fingers, and you can look like you're holding it. Okay. Now, what you want to do next is you need your wings. And the wings really balance it out and make the body look fuller. Alright. Now, the wings are the same closed wings as the video. The only difference is you're going to do 19 pegs total. And you're going to do the same concept, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. You will need to do an internal decrease once, and then you can bind off as a drawstring bind off. Okay. But you're using 19 pegs. You're going to sew it right down the middle of the back, just like this. Okay. And I don't ever sew those things there. Okay, I don't sew the outer edge, I just sew the back edge, and that kind of allows some room for them to move a little bit. Okay. I will show you how I do the actual painting. Brush pens are the most subtle thing to use. This is the brand that I use, ARRTX. And a lot of times I will go in and try to do a blending. Okay. And that way it's not so obvious that I've changed yarns. It's not such a blunt thing to see that the color's changed. Okay. So, like, I'll go up here and start trying to blend that. And it makes a big difference. It's not so... On the painted bunting, that's what I did, was go in and blend my colors. Okay. And it does. It makes a big difference. So, you just take and get it to where you want it, where it's not so obvious that you've just blended. And as you can see, that stark color is starting to fade, where it's not so obvious. Okay. And that's what you want to do with the wings. So, like, when you get about halfway done with the wing, you want to change into that light blue color, and that'll go a long ways of adjusting. And if you want to add some lighter colors down here, you can. The object is to try to blend your sections. Okay. I usually will play with it and that kind of thing until I have exactly what I want. I'll show you around the face a little bit. But sometimes you have to do duplicate stitch. Sometimes it depends on what you got going on. Okay. Now with the beak, you may want to go in and make this a little more solid. But there's like little specks of black that show up around the eyes in the white. Okay. And you just kind of want to add that fine touch. And see, you can already start seeing to make the difference. But do know that, as you can see, it can get on your hands. Make sure you let it time to dry. Okay. Sure. Okay. And you definitely want to give it some time to dry. And that green at the top of the head. So, that. And you'll notice it's not such a stark change. And that's what you want. Try not to give it too much friction on the yarn. It makes it fuzzy, which is kind of the reason why I choose to do the brush pen. I think it doesn't irritate the yarn quite so much. But you can see that there's that subtleness that's going on by having done that. Okay. And what I would suggest is yellow to try and blend that blue out just a little bit. It's not entirely that stark. And it's okay if it turns slightly green. When the colors mix on the bird, it does that. Okay. But it really softens up the look to do this. Okay. You can see it's already doing that. See? It's a dramatic change to do that. It really does change the look of it to just add that nice subtlety to it. Okay. At this point, I need to let it dry, and that's when I usually go make my wings. It keeps me from messing with it. Then I can go in and do that. Okay. But now that's what the difference is doing the paint pens, and you want that brush tip. It really does make a difference. It blends in that blue more. You'll do that with the wings, where half your wing is going to be this color, and the other half is going to be this dark blue. Okay. And that'll have a nice, real subtle effect. But this is how you make the body of the macaw. And once you add those wings, it won't look so head heavy. It balances it out, as you can see when you add those wings. Okay, so that is how you loom knit a blue and gold macaw, and that is how you go in and add the shaping, add the color variants with the acrylic paint pen, and at this point you want to just let it dry, finish your wings, sew those on, and that'll do it. Alright.